Okay. Hello everyone. To this tutorial session is going to be about API development using Fast API. So let's we're going to have a little bit of an introduction to Fast API, and then will be a demo, simple tutorial, basically illustrating the thing that you need to do for this challenge, with a simple example. Okay, so here we are. Okay. All right. So okay. So here, API. What do you mean? Of course, I'm assuming some of you maybe know all of this already, but just assuming maybe you're starting from really a basic level. API is just the intermediary between two applications, like something that for applications to talk to each other. Developing APIs makes it possible to have modular applications, so you can have different parts separately from each other, and basically they can connect to the same data source. And of course, because it's modular, it makes building applications easier to maintain, and just more robust in general. So in Python, because using Python programming language, there are different frameworks for building APIs. So there is Flask, there is Django, and there is Fast API, which is the one we are going to talk about this time. So, okay, as I said, Fast API is a framework for building APIs in Python, and it makes use of Python type hints. You know what type hints are, right? So when we mean by type hints is that when you use data types for your parameters, for your variables in the language, basically your editor can, knowing when you define your types, your editor can basically give you hints based on those, can tell you you're making errors, or you can have suggestion for the functions you can use. Yeah, but just very simply, okay, so just a simple example of this is that one second, give me one moment. Just need to have so just to let me just reshare my whole screen instead, so that can go seamlessly between the okay. So I was talking about type hints in Python. I'm just you can see my screen, right? So this is just a Python script. Let me increase the size, and let's say I define some function, just some test function, and I wanted to take some string, and I wanted to print that string in lowercase. So I will have to so print x, And I need to remember that I have to use lowercase, I have to put dot lower, right? So this is a function for any string value, right? Can access string. So, but say I don't remember this function. And so type hints is that when I can define this variable x as a string, so I define its type. And then here you can see if I add dot, I can see the functions that are available for string. And one of them is lower, as you can see. So this is a function I want to return a copy of the string converted to lowercase. So this is why like typing is useful in usage. It was just an example here. So going back to this, for FastAPI, I make use of this. Okay, and FastAPI is built on two things. Basically, it's based on a Starlet, I think, a web server, which is for the web part, and Pedantic for the Pydantic for the data part. So FastAPI has a feature that you can use it for data validation, basically, but with Pydantic module. So you define the types for your data, and basically when a request is sent to your APIs, the data can be validated. We'll see this in a bit. So other features of FastAPI that makes it a good choice or a suitable choice, depending on your use case, of course. It's the feature that makes it good is that it has high performance. It's fast. It's very easy to use. You can get like great data support, completion everywhere. It has a data validation we talked about a little bit, and you can have automatic generation of API documentations. You will see that also in a bit. You can see the documentation for API, and it also supports asynchronous code with Python. Yes or no? You're using Python's async. You can also have async functions in your like async API endpoints that work basically like if you know asynchronous coding, like FastAPI support that. I'm not going to go into what is asynchronous coding, but okay. Basically, it's just in basic is that like when your functions can be asynchronous, you use this in cases where like you have to wait, especially for input output. So for API endpoints is that when you are waiting for the client side request to arrive, you want your endpoint to be async so that like it does other things while waiting, basically for this request to arrive. So while it's handling multiple clients at the same time, so like it's that's where it will be useful. Anyway, so using it there like with FastAPI is very simple. Just like writing, you can write async functions and use await there. It's very simple to do that. As I said, there is these are the different components of FastAPI, and there is like in the documentation you can also get basically the schema for your API as a JSON schema. Pydantic on the other side, just a little bit about it. It's a library for data parsing and validation using Python type. Basically, like there are the basic Python types, but then you can define more types with Pydantic. And basically, like str or str, the string is a basic Python type. With Pydantic, you can define more. For example, if like you want, okay, we'll see an example of this in a bit. You define more, and basically you can make use of all of this type hinting and validation with Pydantic here. Okay, it works seamless with Fast API because Fast API is based on it. Okay, so that's it for the slides. Any questions before we go to the demo part? Okay, fine. Let's go to here to our demo. So let me remove this because I made it. And okay, so for like the part where I will define my endpoint, like this file uh, definitions is the same as the one you have in the challenge, right? So here challenge document. Let's go to the document. What's this? Here, yeah. So you have this have to ask you to have your main.py, database.py, model, schema, and CRUD, or these are different scripts and the description of each script, what this has to do. So the main.py is the one where the API with endpoints are going to be. And just okay, so this is the whole thing defined. So it has a lot of stuff. But for now, just let's focus on this part. So this one, forget about the other. So this one endpoint, this is the definition of one endpoint here. Let me just close this one. So yeah, what's important here, what happened is I imported from, of course, the first thing I did was to install Fast API. Okay, so let me do this. So I already did that. So I already defined my virtual environment. Okay, you know how to do this, and pip install Fast API. I installed it Fast API standard. So it's installed the standard libraries that are needed for this. It will install Fast API and unicorn that needed to run it, and another stuff. Okay, I already have this installed, so it's already there. Okay, and so that's what I need for that part. So this is what I need here. So I imported unicorn and Fast API. So, well, I don't necessarily need this one to do this. The simplest thing I can have, the simplest, let me just very simple app.py. What I need is to import from Fast to API, import Fast API. I need to define an instance. I will call it app, which is an instance of Fast API. And yeah, I can define an endpoint by using a decorator, this app. And then I will have to define what is my endpoint. Is it going to be, what is the HTTP? Am I going to get is it a get, a post, an update or delete, right? So let's say it's get. So get, it's with respect to the server, to my API. So let's say it's a get, and here I will have the path. So the path is the HTTP, the URL. Add to it this path. So when you have a URL address, it's whatever website, let's say it's 10x.com or .org, 10x.com, and then slash, and you will have maybe home, maybe then whatever user, whatever. This is called the path. So I'm going to put this as a root. So it's just going to be slash, right? And then I will define my root function. let's say it's just a function, call root. I can call it whatever I want. And let's say it takes nothing and returns, let's say, a JSON of sorts. So it's a message, and I'll call it, the message will be hello world. It's just simple thing. So you can see this is the same part I have here, basically. So this is the one. I have this endpoint, the same defined here. Is the only difference is that now this is an async endpoint, but this doesn't make much of a difference for this part. And yeah, I have here fast API imported. So I can run this by going to my terminal and using, I can run fast API dev and then the name of the file. So the simple app.py. Okay, and this will going to run at my local host at port 8000 for I think by default, but you can change that by changing like the port or the app. Another way to run the app, instead of using fast API in the terminal, I can basically here import ubicorn and define here if main, and I can use it to basically run and then tell it what to run. So here it's going to be it's a module. So the module is simple app, and the name of my app is app here. So, and then I will have host, my host, which in the case of my local host, this is I can just also write it local host, I think. Or I can write the IP, which is 127.0.0.1, and I can choose the port to be like whatever port I want. So let's say it's okay. And then after doing this, all I have to do is to run just normally with Python, run simple app.py. And then I will have my my app will going to be run at that URL. Okay, so I'm not going to run this one. I already have another one running. Sorry. So here you can see I run this. I've been running for a while. Let me stop it and start it again. So I'm running this app here with Python because it has like this. So I imported the corn and I'm running it there. I'm using reload because I want, whenever I make any changes, I wanted to reload it. And I want to see the changes there. So just to see what happens. So we run this and we can go basically control click on this one. It will take us here, and you see I'm at the root. So I get the message, hello world here. Okay. I have other endpoints defined in my, okay, let's just stop for a bit. Is this so far so good? Is everything clear? I'm taking it slow in a bit, so I just hope that you can follow along. So okay, so I'm going to basically what I want to do is I want to have I have a Postgres database. Okay, I already defined it. here. So let me just exit. No, so, okay, clear this. So I have a Postgres database, and here I'm connecting to it from the terminal just to show you. I called it Fast API tutorial, this one. Okay, I can connect to it. Fast API. Okay, and you can see it's okay. It has one table that has items, and to get the details on the table, is the correct one? No. No, it's I'm forgetting what is the right command to check on the details of the end something. Okay, this is a list of schemas. I should think this is on. So help I want is how to get the details of a table. Just give me one second. Table list. Oops, use. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Missed this. Yeah, so I just Googled it basically because I don't quite remember. Sorry, it's just like it's a site. I was sidetracked a bit, so this is not important. I'm connecting here. I'm connecting to my Postgres database through the terminal. So this is like through Python, we're going to be using SQL Alchemy. So I shouldn't be actually doing this. I just want to show you what I have there from the other side, from another side. So as I told, I have this database. I called it Fast API tutorial or short thought. And you can see I have only one table here, items, and it has these columns, ID, title, and description with these types, okay? The integer is the one that is, it has to be non-null because it's a primary key. Okay, so I actually didn't create this, I didn't create this table here. I didn't create it through here. I actually created it in through, with SQL Alchemy, how you can create a table by defining a class. Okay, and so actually this depends on this one. Okay, all right. So here using SQL Alchemy. Okay, can I do this? All right. So don't want to miss any of them. So, okay. Right. Let's just like everything running away from me. Anyway, so when you're using SQL Alchemy, you have to define how to connect your Postgres database. So like this part, like Postgres, this is set. You have to use it because it's a Postgres database, because SQL Alchemy can connect to multiple kind of SQL databases. Can be MySQL or SQLite or actually you don't need that for SQLite. But anyway, so it's this Postgres, the username and the 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 username and the password, I think, the URI, and then where it is. So it's locally installed, so it's a local host. This is a port number. If you installed it normally, it's like 5432, but it can be different. Okay, and this is the name of my database, basically. So this is how I connect to the database you saw just before. And basically you have to use like this create engine to using the database URL, and this is like the connector, and basically like I defined one function here, get the database. It's to get the session and to close it once it's done. So when I'm done with that, so this is like this is just to connect with the database as requested or as desired. Okay. Here. Right. Basically, this is a database, configure database connection using SQL Alchemy. So that's what we do in this one. In models, we define the database tables. So I have one table here. I call it items. This is the use of this, and yeah, it defines 3 columns. It has the ID, which is an integer. Primary key is a primary key, and the index. I have a title and a description. These are the strings. And yeah, you know, like you can define more tables if you need by defining more classes. Okay, so this is the table. So this is the table I have here. It's the same one, ID, title, and description with the same how it was defined. So I defined it using SQL Alchemy. Actually, didn't go there and define it. I created through an SQL statement. I didn't do that. The next part of this, so what I want to do here is that I want to create basically an app that where I can install, add items and descriptions, okay, title and descriptions to my table, and to like some my API. I have API points to add items and to see the items to get them. To get a particular item by its ID or to get multiple items there. So to do that, I need to define these operations with SQL Alchemy. So I have this here. Correct. So let's just close this too. And basically, this is with SQL Alchemy. These are the functions to get this. So one of them is to get an item with its ID. Okay. So I'm creating the table item and filtering it with the item ID. Okay. And so I'm getting the particular one. The getting items. So this will be getting up to 10 items. I have like options to take like skip a number of them. So it's an offset. So this is you're going to get me like up to, this is by default, but I can of course choose to get a different number of items. And then creating an item, this is by adding an item. So here I'm using something like you haven't seen this part yet. So this is what we define with Pydantic. Okay. So with Pydantic, I defined like, let's think of it as a new types. One of them is item. So I define an item to have these attributes. ID is an integer, title, and description. And you can see that this corresponds to an item in my table, right? And then item create. So when I create an item, I don't have an ID for it. So it's only going to have a title and a description. So these are two different types separately. So here you can see that when I created an item, I want to get it to be of this type, item create. That's why I got this here. And basically this is going to be adding this one to the table, commenting it. So these are my functions that work with connecting with SQL database, right? So doing different running different queries and getting the result from those. And I can create endpoints for each, basically. So how I do that is that if I want to create an item, I'm going to use post. So this is a post, and this is going to be at item. So items. So this to see this, I will have to go to the URL and add items here. Okay. And you can see that I can create, it takes an item create and a session database. So I defined it here. Sorry. No, it depends on session, getting it from get DP, which is something that is I got from database. So this is the one. So just with F12, you can see the definition of this one. You see, I can get the session from there. Okay, and it will run this create item from the one that I defined here. So it takes a session, an item, and so it takes a session, an item, and it will return the what I will get from running the query, basically. So this is one endpoint. So to see all of this, and you remember, like I mentioned that Pass API provide automatic documentations. And to see those, I only need to should get rid of this one. Sorry. Okay, so to go, so I like this is the URL I opened before, but I will add docs to it. So this will get me the documentation. And here I will see all the endpoints I defined in my app. You can see this is the root, right? It takes no parameters. And basically what you can see here is that you can see the current response, but you can also try it out basically with like using a request body that just you can test it basically here. So but there is nothing to see here. Actually, you should be able to see that the response is hello world, and this is like how it is like this. Is the code is 200 if successful. Okay. So this is one. So this is the item, the one that I told you about, the one that creates an item. And you can see that the request body has to be a title and a description, string and string, because we defined it with Pydantic to be item create. Okay, and then we can test it, right, by providing something like it's a test item, and this is yes, test item. Okay, and execute. You can see I got the response body, I got like ID 1 and so on. Like this is the response of adding this to our database. Okay, so this is just from the documentation. So the other endpoints I'm going to get, I have two other get endpoints, one to read items and one to read a particular item with its ID, right? Okay, so to actually can actually run those. So um, let's yes. Okay, you can see that I have this because I added it. Test item. This is a test item. Remember, this is what I added. So I'm looking at the database from the other from the terminal, just looking at how it's happening. So I can actually test this here. I can get a particular item. I have only one item. So one, I should get the test item here. Okay. The one, if I decided like some ID I don't have. So I got item not found, and this is because of how I defined it here. You can see that the definition of this endpoint is that it takes an item ID and it runs the get item function we defined before. But if the item is empty, I'm going to raise an exception to the client to that this item is not found, and the status code is going to be 401, 404, and you can see that's what happened here. Okay. Of course, like if I didn't do this, like the client wouldn't know what happened. It just will get nothing. It will get none. But here explained why by using this error message, basically telling it what is happening here. Okay, that's basically it. How you define like these different endpoints and how you run it and how you see the documentations. So any questions? Is everything super clear? There's nothing like to ask about, or do you have any questions about this? So you can find like this, like if you want to basically the documentations here on the Fast API official documentation. You can find like the guide explaining all of these different concepts and how basically with a use case, basically. So if you have anything, you can just look there. Otherwise, you can also ask, look it up, or check ChatGPT as well. It's simple to use. I'm just giving you some time to like if you have any question about this or anything else. Everything is fine. Okay, if that's in that case, I say can end the session here. A second. And as always, you can ask on Slack or yeah, reach out if you have any issues. Thank you for attending.